I think every single person who's signed up to this ride should be scared of it a little bit. You know, no cell service, no food stops for miles. You don't know what kind of road conditions you're going to encounter at the end of December. You know, any sort of mechanical or body issue could happen. Being in your own head is like a big part of it. It's not just, oh, hey, have you spent enough hours on the bike? Are you fit enough? It's like, can you cope with spending 24 hours turning pedals in horrid, horrid conditions? I'm Sam Owens. I'm from a town in England called Wolverhampton. Quite like riding bikes a lot. I've ridden bikes for 15, 20 years probably. I never thought about getting into it as a career, but I've always just enjoyed every kind of riding.
I'm Armanda. I've been cycling since grad school, where I was in upstate New York. This is my first time doing anything like this, and it's definitely gonna be my longest distance. In one day. So the Festive 500, yeah, will be definitely a pretty big life accomplishment. Sometimes I do feel like I'm a little bit in over my head, but at the same time, I'm super excited. And like, I think that I do have like the mental space to like push through. I definitely felt when I got to Rapha that I had way more gear than everyone else, though. I was like, why does everyone have like nothing on their bikes? So that was something instantly I realized.
So first off, thank you all for coming out here and getting your things together, waking up to be here at 5 a.m. This is our third year doing this, which is super exciting. It's grown and changed, and a lot of you have done it before, which is crazy. And a lot of you folks are new, so maybe we won't see you do it next year. But yeah, we'll get ready to roll.
It's an insane bonding experience, like 24 hours, 36 hours, whatever you spend doing it. You all get up at the same like 4 a.m., 3 a.m. in the morning to start this like ride that you can't even comprehend. You don't know what the next 24 hours is going to throw at you. And there's all sorts of people there, all different kinds of bikes, rando bikes, road bikes, gravel bikes, people from all of those backgrounds.
The group rolled out together in a peloton for probably the first 10 miles, and then you hit the first climbs and it started to splinter. We are now on the peninsula, so we're just hitting the start of the peninsula loop over the Hood Bridge. So everyone made it over, and we're jumping onto the 101 and kind of hopscotching the riders.
It's really fun to see how far you can push yourself. It also does matter who you do things like this with. I'm really excited to be working as a team. I think like Claire is so knowledgeable on bikes. Like she can change a tire like that, which is like amazing. McKenna, she's the youngest of the group, and so she brings like this crazy energy. Carrie is just also extremely strong. So I think we all bring a cool dynamic to it. It has been really interesting to me how like the lack of women, and so I've been really excited to like try to promote that by being on all women teams.
I quite like signing up for challenges that scare me a little bit. It seems to be more of a challenge if you don't sleep. So for me, I was like, okay, well, that's the challenge I want, is the not sleeping, because then it's one ride. Lots of people are like, can't comprehend riding 340 miles in one go. That's the other bit they don't get, is why wouldn't you just do that in the summer? I'm like, well, it's the Festive 500, you have to do it between Christmas and New Year. And they're like, okay, but couldn't you just do that in the summer? Anthony, Aaron, Miles and Ben, aside from Aaron, we've all ridden it once before. Good to know that everyone's got experience in knowing what to expect. It's rideable. Before Port Angeles, we went along this like seaside path, and there was a huge washout, and we had to like climb over a tree, which was fun.
It was really cool how we all helped each other when we all like merged into that trail where like the 7 trees were down. Oh my God, okay. You got it, you got it. Well, let's not fall in the forest. Definitely kept you on your toes.
We sort of all got over that together and then rode off together to Port Angeles and then stocked up sort of our first big feed for the ride.
One slices or like entire pizzas.
It's really delicious.
Never wake a sleeping Aaron.
I don't know if this is content for Rapha.
Oh yeah. We only got 200 miles to go.
We're currently on the only major climb on the route that takes you up to Lake Crescent. And from here, the riders are gonna have a super beautiful gravel stretch that takes them along the north side of the lake. We've got about 15 minutes left of daylight. It's starting to rain. And from here on out, the route becomes quite remote.
I think that first half of the day was awesome. And then it was pretty hilarious how like by clockwork, it's like, as you're turning the corner on the Olympics, it's gonna start raining on you.
It's raining. Sun gone down, rain started, the rain carried on, and everyone was pretty soaked and cold. England's really wet, so I'm used to the wet. It doesn't mean that I enjoy the wet, it just means like I know what to expect when I lose the feeling in my fingers.
Conditions are pretty brutal. It's just cold and wet, and we have a headwind. The road is endless uphill.
One of our teammates didn't have the buddy flap, and I unfortunately was right behind that person on the way into Forks, and so I didn't realize like I was completely covered in mud.
I've no idea what time of day it was. It was like probably like 7 p.m, but it felt like midnight. So we were sort of like hunting around, no hot drinks on offer, so we had some whiskey, some like cheap like microwave pasties. I really wanted scotch, but they don't sell scotch in Thriftaway, so I think we had bourbon.
Like, that warms you up.
Yeah, man, that feels good.
I think it took us quite a long time to get out of there. We all thought it was like a 10-minute stop, but it was probably like 40 minutes or something.
We're just leaving Forks, so we're pretty much past the last real service point. The gap between Quinault and Forks is probably going to be your darkest stretch of the ride. It's actually kind of eerie because we're routing them on this really desolate road that passes a prison. That's the only thing on the road. And this is like straight up the land of Sasquatch. It's like foggy, it's really dark, it's super rainy, and that's like gonna be pretty much the bulk of their experience riding.
You know that your wife and friends are at home in front of like a fire or in the pub and they're warm, and you're out in the middle of nowhere pedaling in the cold and the rain, and there isn't any other way home. You can't just call an Uber and go home.
It was dark, and like I think all of us commented on that, like, oh man, like this is just, we're the only ones out here. And then we heard some animal calls. It was unclear what they were. Like some people were thinking they were coyotes, some people thought they were wolves, some people thought they were werewolves. My knee started acting up on me, my left knee. Yeah, that was probably the most pain I've been on a bike ever. And I started crying on the bike. Yeah. I definitely couldn't have done it without the team. Like the last few hours of that night, I like needed people's support. I got pretty hypothermic-ish by 3 a.m. when we got to Lake Quinault that first day. I was just like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do this tomorrow. I mean, I was just like in a dark place Saturday night.
That was kind of miserable riding out of Lake Quinault. That was probably the lowest bit of the ride for me. I was just starting to fall asleep on the bike between sort of 4 and 5 in the morning. And then we hit this gravel stretch and the rain's coming down.
250 miles, 6 o'clock in the morning, we're all gravel, cold. We've run out of whiskey. Oh, and it's been raining for the last 21 hours.
Started hallucinating a little bit, thinking things are other things. So there would be these like the water coming off someone else's wheel in front of the headlight. You'd think like a white rabbit is jumping out in front of you, but it's not, it's just the water in their headlight. When the sun came up, we all woke up a bit, but that was the hardest bit of the ride. That was the 4 of us then just sort of out in the middle of nowhere, praying that we didn't get a puncture because we'd have got so cold, and we didn't, thankfully, and we didn't get lost, so that was good. Oh no, we did get lost. Yes, yes.
Oh, it does not say that we were on the right route.
Kidding.
Yeah, it's not showing.
I didn't see any turns.
I did not see any turns either.
Guys, we're on the wrong way. It's not far. It's pretty far. Brandon, you
Did in last night.
Late as fuck. 2:45, and then we were in bed at 3:45. In Forks, we called the lodge here, and they brought like spaghetti and pie.
And they had the butterflies on for us. Yeah, McKenna was joking about that. She was like, Amanda, you just kept being like, I'm quitting. And the next morning you just woke up and didn't say a word and just got dressed. And I was like, I also realized I'm in the middle of nowhere.
Witches and wizards.
So we're following right now the first 2 teams that are finishing. Yeah, we've just been kind of hopscotching today. There's a gravel portion of the route that is rideable, but sometimes is gated to vehicles. So we had to do a pretty massive drive around to reconnect the route and kind of make our way around the gated off section. And so we missed a big portion of riders that were in that gap that we were hoping to see today, just because we couldn't access the portion of the route that they were on. But we were able to kind of catch those first 2 teams. They were like, you know, they weren't in the best shape, but they're making it. They looked like they had been riding for 30 hours. After making it through a night of cold rain with no sleep and no shelter, you're just in the elements. They were starting to break down.
The last stretch, probably the last like 60 miles or something, the conversation maybe died down a bit, and we were wet, we were cold, we were like running out of food, running out of water, and I think we were just like taking turns on the front just to drill it, to get back, head down, full power, which probably wasn't that much power. And then we finally made it to the ferry after like 2 like small but really brutal climbs. Definitely harder this year. People's eyes are bloodshot, they're half asleep. There's a great photo of us all sort of celebrating outside on the ferry deck with our beers, with Mount Rainier in the background. It was like good team success.
The last 50 miles, we actually felt really good. We kind of rotated so that everyone kind of led the pace line at some point. We cruised. I think we were like averaging like 16 miles an hour. But Claire pulled us the whole way. She was like dead at the ferry.
Oh my god, Claire! Oh my god. Oh, and my space
That experience really taught me a lot of things that I'm going to take forward.
Are you going to do it next year?
I think if I had a good team again, yeah. I mean, it was a cool experience. And like, now that I've been cycling a lot more, I think that also I'll just be stronger. I mean, I learned a lot.
I think I slept like 13 hours or something the next day. That was pretty good.
You going to do it next year?
Are we doing another one next year?
Always.
I don't know, we'll see. I'll try and plan my vacation so I'm not available.